Yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Skull and Bones 2 and 2 here, bringing you guys another lore video. Since I know you guys love these, I just thought I'd bring you guys something special, new, and very cool that you guys wanted me to cover. So today we're going to be talking about the Locust slash Swarm, what their differences are, what their similarities are like, just a lot of stuff, just, you know, getting these questions answered about the Swarm. So let's get into it. Swarm are a race slash group of creatures that were active over the 25 years after the Lambent pandemic. They are the successor of the Locust Horde. How exactly the Swarm was created after the destruction of the Locust Horde is still a mystery. After the emulsion countermeasure weapon was deployed at the end of the Second Battle of Azura, it was thought that members of this Locust Horde were wiped out, thus freeing Serra from the grips of apocalyptic war and allowing it to slowly blossom back to life. However, shortly after the countermeasure was deployed, all of the Locust corpses were quickly encased in an incredibly dense yellow-colored crystalline structure, scions. These crystalline shell corpses were impenetrable, so hard that if diamond was shot at it, the diamond would completely shatter. Being unable to burn or otherwise dispose of the Locust dead because of this, the newly reformed coalition of ordered governments decided to do the next best thing: dump all of them deep underground in mass graves. Marcus Phoenix, Anya Stroud, and the rest of Delta Squad was there at every single burial site. Located in the abandoned Osmia mine beneath the ancient fortress city of Fort Reveal at some point during the end of the war. Over the next 25 years, Serra was at peace, and life began to cover the surface of the war-ravaged planet once again. The newly formed COG was successfully rebuilding human civilization and constructing new cities, while former stranded camps and other members of the surviving populace that chose not to join the new COG, the Outsiders, formed peaceful communities on the fringe of the COG's territory, becoming known as the Outsiders. However, this peace was soon interrupted as COG citizens went missing in large numbers. With no other explanation available, COG Minister First Jin blamed the disappearances on the outsider community and began a large-scale mobilization slash attack, starting with the attempted capture of Marcus Phoenix's son JD during an outsider raid in an unpopulated and still under construction Settlement 5, where it was guarded by DBs and new DBs were encountered. The DR-1, despite this, the Outsiders managed to escape with the Fabricator. Undeterred, Jin sent a large DB force to the Outsider village, but they were repulsed. Later on during the night, there was a raid. Not a raid of any kind that the Outsiders had experienced. This raid was conducted by the Swarm, and not only were there people being taken, but Reyna was taken, the leader. Now, this was very big because they lost a big key player. They lost a lot of people, and they didn't know what just happened. They were just smacked in the face by, what the hell? What is this? Who are these things? Well, like, what happened? So now we're gonna talk about the Locust. The Locust, they're like the father of the Swarm, the father and the mother of the Swarm. They have this hive connection thing going on, like Queen Mira did with her children, as you can say. And the difference between the Swarm and the Locust is that the Locust were mad science projects gone wrong, horribly wrong. They were humans that were tested on. If you remember the Sires from Gears of War 2, those were humans, and they were in these test tubes, and they were just like subject to these horrible inhumane ways, and they just became these monsters, and they were sent to live in Mount Kadar, a mountain in Serra, a mountainous thing in Serra, and they became the Locust, what is known as the Locust. How the various creatures and underground monsters like the Brumox and Berserkers and all of that junk, that became later on, I guess, as the Locust progressed, and they became more of a sentient, more smarter life civilization, I guess you could say. But besides that, the Swarm and the Locust, they're very similar. And could they return to Gears of War 4? Yes, with a high chance. Multiplayer is an expanding, ever-growing universe, and it's really honestly up to the Coalition to do what they want with this. They can expand it, make it better, have them come back. But you guys also have to remember that thing with the Scions. Scions are enforcers, if you didn't know. There's what's left of the Locust Horde, and they're commanding this new infringement of the Swarm because the Swarm don't know what they are, and the Swarm don't know what their past lives were, the Locust. So the Locust, which are the Scions, are basically commanding them. It's basically like a bunch of General Roms. That's why they also have the power to slam their foot on the ground and make their soldiers stronger. If you didn't know that, and if you played Horde. Right now, they lost their queen, they lost their king, which was the final boss. If you guys didn't know that, that final boss was kind of like a swarm king, and they lost Reyna, which was the queen slash queen of the Locust Horde. But if you guys liked, don't forget to comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Men and women whose sacrifices